Before this meeting ends, a millionaire laughs. Before this joke fades, a life changes forever. A powerful boss makes a careless offer, never expecting the quietest person in the room to accept it. What happens next silences an entire boardroom and proves that intelligence doesn't wear a suit. If you believe real power comes from courage and knowledge, not status, then subscribe to Soulbound Stories right now. Like this video, share it with someone who's been underestimated, and comment below if you've ever been judged too soon. Now sit back and let's get started. The boardroom carried the cold confidence of wealth, polished surfaces reflecting faces trained to hide doubt. Ricardo Valente sat at the head of the table, flipping through a projected document written in an unfamiliar ancient language. Lawyers, analysts, and executives shifted uncomfortably as silence stretched. This single page held the fate of a multi-million-dollar acquisition, yet no one could decode its meaning. Ricardo's patience snapped, and with a mocking laugh, he offered his entire monthly salary to anyone who could translate it. Certain the challenge was impossible, laughter spread across the room, sharp and careless, reinforcing the invisible wall between power and everyone beneath it. At that exact moment, the door opened quietly. Helena, a cleaning woman in a simple uniform, entered with her cart. She moved with practiced silence, unnoticed as usual, wiping glass and corners. Her eyes drifted to the screen, and suddenly her movements slowed. Recognition crossed her face, not confusion. She stared at the symbols with familiarity, as if greeting an old memory long buried. Ricardo noticed her pause and smirked, his voice dripping with irony as he asked what had caught her attention. Helena inhaled deeply, feeling years of restraint press against her chest. With calm courage, she said she could translate the document. The room erupted in laughter again, louder this time, crueler. Executives exchanged amused looks, certain they were witnessing an embarrassing joke. Ricardo leaned forward, entertained, and told her to proceed, confident she would fail and disappear back into invisibility. Helena stepped closer to the screen, her heart racing but her voice steady. She began translating line by line, her pronunciation precise, her understanding sharp. The laughter faded into stunned silence. She explained clauses, historical references, and legal conditions hidden beneath formal language. She clarified obligations tied to ancestral ownership and warned of consequences if those terms were ignored. Her words carried authority earned through knowledge, not status, and every sentence tightened the room's grip on reality. By the time Helena finished, no one was smiling. One lawyer quickly cross-checked her translation, his face draining of color as he confirmed every detail was correct. Ricardo stood frozen, his arrogance collapsing under the weight of truth. The room... In that moment, power shifted quietly but permanently, as a voice long ignored proved that brilliance does not ask permission, and respect cannot be bought, it must be earned. Ricardo broke the silence by asking how she had learned a language so rare that even specialists struggled with it. Helena answered without pride, explaining she had studied linguistics years earlier, mastering forgotten dialects while dreaming of a career that never came. Life, she said, redirected her path through illness, debt, and responsibility, forcing her to trade ambition for survival. Her words were calm, but they carried the weight of years spent being unseen. For the first time, Ricardo felt something unfamiliar tighten in his chest. The meeting ended differently than anyone expected. Executives filed out slowly, their confidence shaken. Ricardo asked Helena to stay behind. When the door closed, the powerful CEO apologized, not with excuses but with honesty. He admitted that laughter had been easier than listening, and status had blinded him to talent standing right in front of him. Helena accepted the apology without bitterness, saying she had learned long ago not to expect fairness, only opportunity when courage met the right moment. The next morning, rumors swept through the building. People who had never noticed Helena before suddenly whispered her name. She was called into human resources, not to be questioned, but to be offered a new role. Ricardo personally authorized her appointment as a cultural and language consultant, reporting directly to the legal department. The announcement echoed through the company, unsettling some and inspiring others. Helena walked out of the office that day without a uniform, carrying a future she had almost stopped believing in. As weeks passed, her impact became undeniable. Deals once stalled by miscommunication were resolved under her guidance. International partners expressed renewed trust, impressed by the company's cultural awareness. Helena worked with quiet discipline, never seeking attention, letting results speak. Employees began to approach her with respect, some with apologies. She responded with professionalism, proving that dignity does not demand revenge, only recognition. One evening, Ricardo found her working late, reviewing documents alone. He asked why she never spoke of her education before. Helena smiled gently and replied that no one had ever asked. That simple sentence haunted him. He realized how many voices he had silenced without knowing, how many possibilities were lost to arrogance. The next quarter, Ricardo launched internal programs to identify hidden talent, offering education and growth to employees at every level. Years later, Helena's story became part of the company's identity. New hires heard it during orientation, not as a myth, but as a lesson. Helena rose into leadership, guiding decisions with wisdom shaped by humility. Ricardo, forever changed, no longer measured people by appearance or title. Truth was the day an empire learned to bow to respect. And the day a cleaning woman spoke, the